I got started with pigeons when I was around about 14. I just saw some pigeons down the pet shop and some tumblers, some fancy pigeons, and I bugbeared my mum till she let me have a pair. I had a cock and a hen, and that's how I started. Just two pigeons from a pet shop, basically. But they were tumblers in actual fact. That's a variety that tumbles at certain times in the sky. They fly around and they tumble. They actually do gambols. I'm a racing pigeon man now. I had tumblers as a lad, and then as I progressed, I finished with that when I was at school. Then I went to work. I was an apprentice electrician. One of the electricians that I worked with actually raced pigeons, which I didn't realise until we got talking about it. And I went round, watched him flying his racing pigeons. I was really struck by it and thought, I'll have a go at that. So that's exactly what I did. I got married, believe it or not. As soon as I got married, I put a pigeon loft in the garden and started. This baby's probably about 16 days old now. Around about 22, 23 days, it'll be able to come away from his parents and feed itself. That's a baby. They reckon that the more you've got this down on its back, which is baby feathers, the more down they've got, the better the baby will turn out, but proof's in the pudding. People they pick pigeons on eye sign, wing theory, which is the feathers, the shape of the feathers, the back, the vent. There's about 5 different little things that people are looking for in pigeons. They can have all that and still be no good. Basically, my way of looking at it would be, you put it in a basket, and if it's your first pigeon back, that's your best pigeon. If you do that every time and keep doing that methodically year after year, you produce your own little master race of pigeons. Nothing complicated about it, really. You breed babies, you get them flying round home, which is fairly simple. As soon as they become stronger and stronger and stronger, they will fly away from the loft. When that comes, what you do is you take them, put them in a basket, you take them a mile down the road, so they can actually, once they're in the air, they can see the loft, and they come back. Then you progressively go 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. Once you've got the principal distance underway and they've got that instinct to fly in a certain direction, you can jump it to say 50 miles. Then it's just making sure they've got the endurance built into them then, by just getting them fit and producing some stamina for them. Just slightly bigger and they'll be big enough to put rings on. They won't feed him. So you have to put the rings on while the legs are small enough to slip through the size of the ring. I'll show you what's what. There's a ring. So that goes on before his foot grows. Once his foot's grown, that ring won't come off. That's his registration ring. And this ring is a name and address ring. So I've got my phone number and my name on that one. Same principle, put it on before it's too big. And then once they've grown that little bit extra, they'll never come off. The way to make a pigeon come into really good top condition is you have to observe the pigeon. You observe him as he flies, you see whether he's fit. If he's not fit, then you've got to say, do I rest him? Do I have to give him something? Do I have his droppings tested to see if there's an ailment there? There's a lot of different factors that you have to take into consideration with racing pigeons. And if you don't do that, then you're going to be the bottom of the sheet every week. You'll get your pigeons, you can send them, they'll come back, but that's what you call homing pigeons. That's not racing pigeons. This is one of my Belgian pigeons I purchased from Belgium last year, carrying a Belgian ring. I do try different pigeons. I always try somebody else's pigeons against my own all the time. If they beat them, they stay. If they don't, they go. So you're striving to just keep on top of it and testing them out against other pigeons. This is a cock. It's a great big long wing on him. He's a big boy. In nice condition. Lovely colour on him. Let's hold him for you. And you can see by the shape of his back He's definitely got a strong back. It's all the way down there. He's all muscle, this one. Come on, mate. Come here. Let's grab into it. There it is. Some pigeons like racing, some pigeons don't. You can tell when a pigeon is fit, you can tell when he wants to come home. And I can tell, I would say, 70% of the time, the pigeons, I can pick the pigeon that's going to come first to me for that race. Just the way he's flying around home. There's an old bird season which starts the season off, which starts around about April the 14th. And it continues then, there's probably about 12 races for the old birds. And then that follows on, because at that time you're breeding young birds with those old birds. And it follows on then that the young birds come afterwards and they go for another, say, 10 weeks. So it's the end of September. They all get released together and they may all come up the country together, 80 miles all together, and then the last 2 or 3 miles they break away because they recognise exactly where home is and they'll come home. But hopefully your pigeons are in front of everybody else's and they'll be coming home first. That's how that's what you hope for. Now we have different incentives for them. Young birds, babies, they fly to the corn, they'll fly to food. Okay. Whereas old birds, they fly for love, believe it or not. So they either come home to the wives or come home to their husbands, simple as that. It's what we call that widowwood racing. That's a widowwood system. When you send your pigeons to a race, they take your registration number off the identity ring and they put on the other leg a rubber ring which also has got a number on. This is an expanding ring, so they expand it, put it onto the foot, then it contracts and he takes that to the race. When he comes back from the race, you have a timing in clock, you take that rubber and you pull it off. You put the rubber into the clock, strike the clock, and that registers the time that the pigeon's arrived. That is the exact time that they're going to give you in the club. Then they calculate the actual velocity the pigeon has done down to a decimal. It's quite interesting, mathematical, but it's the fastest pigeon that wins the race. It's not the longest flying pigeon, it's not the longest time, it's the fastest pigeon, which is velocity, which is the distance divided by the time. It's as simple as that, and it's just a rubber. People have been known to cheat with clocks, but you've got to catch them, and they don't like being caught. But yeah, people do cheat. It's a bit of a sad world when you have to cheat, isn't it, in pigeon flying? But nowadays there can be a lot of money on the end of it. You could be racing for thousands of pounds. Some of these big races are thousands of pounds. And that's what people come down to. They will cheat. For me, I mean, I don't know what other people think, but for me, it's just competing against somebody else. It's not really the pigeon on pigeon, it's man on man to me. I want to beat the other people down the club. I don't want to be second, I don't want to be third. There's only one spot and that's going to be first. I've got to win. I wouldn't send them if I didn't think I was going to win every week. And when they come, it's an adrenaline rush. If I see somebody else's come, which I don't in the position I'm in, but I had used to, if they got a pigeon before me, then that was it. The game is all over. To me, it's all about winning. And I strive to do that best to my ability.